What's going on, baseball fans? Jeremy Laracuente here for the Baseball Banter Broadcast. And on this broadcast, we're going to be discussing my top 10 first basemen right now for the 2023 season. Before we get into my list, I definitely want to hear from you guys. Let me know who are your top 10 first basemen heading into the 2023 season. Major League Baseball Network does this countdown each and every single year, where a former Major League player will join Brian Kenny and discuss their top 10. But MLB Network's proprietary algorithmic system known as the Shredder is the one that determines the list. So I encourage you, make your own list, see how difficult it is. But now we're going to get into my top 10 first basemen right now. We begin with number 10. Now, number 10 is actually going to be a pick from the Kansas City Royals, Hunter Dozier. The reason why I selected Dozier is I think that he is on the cusp of a breakout season. I think that planting him at first base is really going to be where the Royals are going to find their most success with this player. They have not had the greatest level of success when it came to their third baseman coming up the system. We know Alex Gordon was a third baseman. They moved him out to left field, became even better. Mike Moustakas was the third baseman, moved over to second base, played a little better, but he wasn't a bad third baseman. But with Hunter Dozier, I think that moving him over to first base is really going to allow him to kind of play at his best level. I think that defensively, this isn't going to be the greatest player that we've ever seen, but I think with his footwork that he brought over from third base to first base, I think that he can be a little bit better than what he would have been at third. I also think that offensively, this is going to be a guy who by playing first base can kind of relax his mind a little bit better and really start to develop the offensive game that was expected of him as a highly touted prospect for the Royals. I think that going into the 2023 season, Hunter Dozier is really going to have a breakout campaign and put himself on the map as one of the 10 best first basemen in all of baseball. Now, as we look at number 9 on my list, it is Luis Arraez of the Minnesota Twins. I think that this is one of the more underrated players in Major League Baseball. And by being able to have him as a first baseman, the Twins really have a different kind of first baseman than most everybody else. Arraez really prioritizes the art of hitting, being able to be more of a Rod Carew, Tony Gwynn type, putting the bat on the ball, not necessarily trying to hit a ton of home runs, but really understanding his game, trying to place the ball just to be able to make that contact. So being a different kind of player than what we typically see from the first base position really, to me, has Luis Arraez standing out compared to some of the rest in this field, and thus makes number 9 on my list. Now, number 8 on my list is Rhys Hoskins of the Philadelphia Phillies. When it comes to Hoskins, to me, this is a player that is on the cusp of breaking out in a major way. I think that what we've seen from him over the past couple of seasons is a continued growth and maturity. And I think that 2023 is really going to be the season where Rhys Hoskins jumps out in a big, big way. I think that especially for the Philadelphia Phillies, with Bryce going to be on the show for the first couple of months of the season, you're going to see a very big season out of Rhys Hoskins, in my opinion, and could easily vault himself up into the upper echelon of this list where there is a ton of competition in this first base market. But to me, Rhys Hoskins, number 8 on my top 10 first baseman right now. Now, number 7 on my top 10 first baseman right now is a stalwart, a consistent player, a consistent person on this list for me, and it is Jose Abreu, now of the Houston Astros. The former White Sox first baseman has been one of the most consistent and, in my opinion, most underrated players in Major League Baseball. He's a solid enough defender at first base, even now being in his age 37, 38 season. This is still a potent bat. And yes, he's not going to hit for maybe the same kind of power as some of your upper echelon power hitting first baseman in Major League Baseball history. But his consistent approach at the plate, he has a very good eye. And this is going to be a guy who prioritizes making contact with the ball, not necessarily just going for all or nothing swings. This is going to be a guy that still provides thump in the middle of the order. And to me, going to the Astros were the only spot, the only kind of blemish that the Astros had in their infield in terms of hitting was first base. They really shored it up, in my opinion, with a guy like Jose Abreu. This is going to be a very interesting season for the Houston Astros, and a lot of it, I believe, is going to be in the middle of the order with Abreu as their new first baseman. Now, number 6 on my list is the Bronx Bombers first baseman Anthony Rizzo. Ever since the Yankees acquired Rizzo, this has been a player that has fit in beautifully with the New York Yankees. Seeing him in the pinstripes, the beautiful left-handed swing that he has at Yankee Stadium, the way that he is a leader in the clubhouse, and honestly, one of the biggest factors, in my opinion, as to why Aaron Judge made it back to the Bronx was the re-signing quickly of Anthony Rizzo. There's no doubt about it that this is a player that has a very different approach. Yes, he's going to try to hit home runs because that's what he's paid to do as a big-time first baseman. You expect power coming out of your corner positions, and Rizzo delivers that in a big way. But what Rizzo does different is that he is going to focus on trying to hit the baseball and put the ball in play, crowds the plate, chokes up with 2 strikes. This is a player that absolutely understands and has a tremendous baseball IQ, not to mention that while I think it's still underrated, this is one of the best defenders at the first base position right now in the game. This is going to be a very big season, in my opinion, for Anthony Rizzo as well. And now one of the upper echelon first basemen in the game today. Now, as we get into the top 5, the number 5 first baseman in the game today right now is Pete Alonso. The polar bear has tremendous power. We would see it with a 50 home run campaign just a couple of seasons ago. And I think that we can see that once again this year in 2023 from Pete Alonso. If he can stay healthy, this is going to be a guy who's going to get himself 600, 700 at bats and put up another 50 home run campaign. Yes, bold prediction, but it is something that I truly believe in. His power is real. It is natural. There's not a lot of presence like a guy like Pete Alonso that you see throughout Major League Baseball. This is going to be a guy who, as long as he can maintain his swing, is going to be a guy that easily runs into 40, 50 home runs this season. Is he going to be the greatest defender? No. But at the same time, this is going to be a guy who is going to work on that. He wants to improve. He wants to get better each and every single year. And I think that as he continues to grow into his game, continues to understand and learn his craft, this is going to be a guy who really is one of the very, very best in Major League Baseball at the first base position. Now, as we get into the number 4 in the top 10 first baseman right now, it is Matt Olson of the Atlanta Braves. This to me has been one of the best players in baseball. That is one of the most undiscovered talents in baseball. Yes, serious baseball fans know exactly how talented Matt Olson is. But before being traded to the Atlanta Braves, I think that the casual baseball fan was missing out on what this player was capable of because he was playing for the Oakland A's. When you look at the fact that he has a tremendous bat, as well as being a Gold Glove caliber, platinum caliber defender at first base, this to me was a huge move last offseason for the Atlanta Braves. Losing Freddie Freeman, they knew they were going to lose Freeman, and they got a younger replacement. Is he going to live up to the same level of expectations that Freddie Freeman has? Maybe, maybe not. But when you look at what he is capable of on a year in and year out basis, to me, this is going to be a player that is of that same type of caliber. When you look at what this means for the Braves, they replaced Freddie Freeman with Freddie Freeman. Now, as we look at the number 3 first baseman on my top 10 list, we are discussing Freddie Freeman. Yes, Freeman is still going to be one of the very, very best first basemen in the game. His talent, skills of being able to pair very good defense with intelligence of an upper level echelon in the baseball IQ realm, as well as his hitting ability for not just average, but also in power. This is a guy who really makes a team stand out, makes them a different team altogether. Being on a powerhouse Dodgers lineup, you do not forget about Freddie Freeman. That's the kind of presence that he has in the lineup and what he is able to deliver. Each and every single season, you know you're going to get consistency out of Freddie Freeman, and that's why he's one of the 3 best first basemen in the game. Now, as we get into the number 2 on my list, it is Paul Goldschmidt, the reigning, defending National League most valuable player, is without question one of the best players in baseball history. I think that Paul Goldschmidt might arguably be the most underrated superstar in baseball history. Yes, That is a bold claim to make, but the simple fact is that Paul Goldschmidt has been one of the best all-around five-tool players in baseball for a very, very long time. But because he was playing with the Diamondbacks when they were completely uncompetitive for so long, I think that he went overlooked. And the fact is that now playing with the Cardinals, being able to be in and around the postseason hunt really makes Paul Goldschmidt stand out even more. In a very crowded, very tough National League MVP race in 2022, Paul Goldschmidt was the clear-cut favorite. I think that there's no doubt about it. His leadership capabilities for this Cardinals team that has a ton of veteran leaders already on it, and they look to Paul Goldschmidt. When you have that kind of player in your clubhouse, you have that kind of leader on your team, on the field, putting in the work every day, there's second to none when it comes to the type of player and person that Paul Goldschmidt is. With that, he is number 2 on my list. Now, I say all this praise to Paul Goldschmidt, saying that he is second to none, but he is second to Vladimir Guerrero Jr. on the top 10 first baseman right now. Vladdy made very big strides and improvements in his defense and is already one of the most formidable bats and most feared bats in all of Major League Baseball. Yes, in 2022, it took a little bit of a step back compared to where he was in the 2021 MVP caliber race. But I think as we get back into 2023, Vladdy gets back to being one of the most feared and potent bats in all of Major League Baseball. I think that Vladdy has an opportunity as he continues to grow and to mature and learn and study his craft and become a better first baseman, that he is only going to get better. Very scary proposition, very scary thought as a fan of the New York Yankees, having to face off against Vladdy in very dangerous situations with runners on. This is a guy who you absolutely have to game plan around if you're an opposing manager, pitching coach, and opposing starting pitcher. This is a player that, as he continues to get better, is only going to make even more strides, grow his accolades and his resume on a Hall of Fame career. That's how much I believe in Vladimir Guerrero Jr. So I want to hear from you guys. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Who is the number 1 first baseman right now for you? Let me know your whole list. Top 10 first baseman right now in Major League Baseball. So keep it locked in here on the Baseball Banter Broadcast by hitting the subscribe button down below and the bell for post notifications, because we are continuing to try to grow this baseball community. We are doing a giveaway here as we hit 500 subscribers for this YouTube channel. We are going to be giving away one of these thermos from the Baseball Banter Broadcast. Now, specific ways to be entered into the contest giveaway: you have to be a subscriber here on YouTube. As a subscriber here on this YouTube channel, that enters you in to the draft that we're going to be running for this particular giveaway. If you want to gain extra entries, there are 3 other options, 3 other ways to do so. You can follow us on our Instagram page under the name Baseball Banter Broadcast, as well as our TikTok page under the same name, Baseball Banter Broadcast, or you can follow us over on Twitter at banter_baseball. Those are the only ways to get entered into this contest, just by following us on those pages on social media, being a subscriber to this channel. You gain yourself extra entries by doing all 4. So make sure you keep it locked in by hitting the subscribe button if you haven't already done so, as the best way to win the giveaway, but also to keep up to date with the latest news, notes, and my personal thoughts, theories, and opinions on the game of Major League Baseball. Peace.